All right, the problem that we're looking at today is the USACO 2018 December contest gold problem 1 of fine dining. You can pause the video first and look at this problem yourself. All right, so the problem statement is quite straightforward. You have n cows and you have n barns and pastures. All the cows are trying to get from the pasture that they started with to barn 1. And now there's some hay bale. There's a few barns with hay bales, and each hay bale have a tastiness of yi. And each cow is willing to stop at a single hay bale along her trip only if the amount of time this adds to her path is at most the yumminess of the hay bale. And a cow only officially visits one hay bale, so even if she passed by other hay bales, she ignored these. And with 10 being at most 5 times 10 to the 4th power, you're trying to find whether a cow can visit a hay bale on her way home. Now you can pause the video once again and think about this yourself. Alright, as you can see, first of all, the most easy way to do this is obviously just find the shortest path between every two pairs of points, right? But notice that any algorithm that achieves this, whether Floyd or n digextrous, will all explode in time complexity. So that's why we need to use another more advanced method. So let me pull out a drawing board here. We have, say, all these points. I'm just going to draw them as one dimension, even though they're actually two-dimensional. And a few points with hay bales, so we'll call them those, right? And now let's label this one as n, and all these other are just regular points. And the algorithm that we're going to try today is called the layer graph shortest path, which I was able to solve this problem largely because I just learned the layer graph shortest path algorithm 2 days before I solved this one. So the algorithm was still fresh in my mind, and I just kind of wanted to try it, and it worked. So the way we implement this is we just create a singular second layer. And now we replicate all the points onto the second layer, obviously, just like every other layer graph shortest path problems. Except we only connect edges within 2 layers on points with hay bales, and they're all directed edges. And now we run a shortest path algorithm first from the n on layer 2 to every point, and then from n on layer 1 to every point. And what does that do? Well, first of all, notice when we just run the shortest path algorithm from n to every point on here using digextra, it's just going to be a regular shortest path because we simply ignore the second layer, as we can't ever get to it since all these edges are directed. And if we start from the n on the second layer, first layer, however, we have 2 layers, and then we take the d only to the points on the second. Okay, I'm going to label this so it's easier to tell. So when we start from n on the first layer, we take the distance from this n to every single point on the second layer. And now we know that, say, the distance from n to, say, this point, we know that this distance, call it d2, compared to d1, which is the distance that we take from this n to this point, we know that the difference of these 2 points must be at most the yumminess of whatever path we took to get to the second layer from the first layer, right? Because we know we took at most and only one of them, because we can't get back down to the first layer after we reach the second. And now we need to somehow keep track of what is the yumminess of the hay bale that we went through. And we notice that this problem can be easily solved by just giving a negative edge length, a negative weight to all these edges. So the weight of all these edges are negative. So then the weight of this edge is just negative of the yumminess. And now when we get to this point, say let's call it point, use a different color once again, let's call it point I. When we get to point I, if d1i is at most, if d2i is at most d1i, meaning the path that we took that goes through some hay bale is at most the distance without using some hay bale, well, then obviously that means we can use a hay bale. So the answer for this cow is 1, meaning yes. And otherwise, if d2 is greater than d1, the answer is no, because we know that the hay bale is not going to be able to get us there without adding extra to the path, right? However, notice that in this graph, we have negative edge weight, which means that we can't just run digextra as we did before, because digextra can't process a graph with negative edge length. However, there's 2 ways to solve this. First of all, you can notice that this problem is quite old, as it's 2018, and that's actually before SPFA died. If you guys know what the shortest path fast algorithm is, congratulations, you're old, because that's an old algorithm, and it's been proven to have a false time complexity, I think starting 2018 or 2019. So this problem was like right before or like just after SPFA died. So that actually allows us to run a shortest path algorithm on a graph with negative edge weight in ON or O log n complexity. So that's the first option to implement the SPFA algorithm, the shortest path fast algorithm, SPFA. Now the second idea is even smarter because we notice that there's only negative edges but no negative loops. So we can simply just add the weight of every single edge, we can just add it by a certain amount, say max W. So the max across all weights, we just add the weight of every single edge by that amount. So now we have every single edge must be positive, right? And in the end, we just subtract the answer by that much. And that gives us a graph with no negative edges, and we can run Digesterate on that. So these are the two methods you can try. Obviously, the second one is better because it has a guaranteed complexity. So this is the implementation of the second one, which is just 2 Digesterate, while the commented off part below is the algorithm which I used, the SPFA algorithm, right here. All right, okay. So that's how you solve this problem. So basically, first of all, you notice that you can utilize the trick of layer graph shortest path, and then you connect edges and realize that you can just give the weight of edges that run between layers, the negative of the yumminess of the hay bale, and finally you run either SPFA or Digesterate on this graph twice. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Hope it helped. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. All right, for my report today, I cooked again. I don't know what is happening, but I've been cooking like 4 days in a row now. Like every single day, I mock a contest and I get like 2 or 3 problems done, and it's just great. I don't think this is good for me because it's getting me way too overly confident for the Friday, but doesn't matter. I think I might actually have a chance now, like a slight chance, but I might have it. So the problem that the contest I mocked today is the 2018 January, even though it's kind of old, but I mocked the gold of that, obviously. Like who will want mock a silver for 2018, right? And I was quite amazed by how good I did because MooTube, I solved it really quickly. I found out the solution in 7 minutes, and then there was a bug that took me an hour, but it's still fast. And the second problem of Cal at large, it took me about 45 minutes to actually figure out how to do it, but then the coding only took me about 15. So that's also really good. And the final problem is really, really difficult, so I could not solve it because it's literally purple on Logu, which is the second highest level, and those two are also the third highest level, which is all pretty hard problems. And I solved it pretty quickly and also passed the promotion line. So that's like really good. So yeah, I kind of cooked again today. Not as much as I did yesterday, but I'm getting myself overly confident for Friday. I still probably won't pass though. But that's all right. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.